And we're back. Man, mine's cranked up. Hold on.
Back again.
What's up, guys? Austin here, the All or Nothing Show. We're back, and I've got the boys.
Griffin.
Brock.
Nice. I almost waited for you to just, sit there like Ricky Bobby, just hands go up.
Too much peyote.
What do I do with my hands?
But we're back again, and it's been a while. It feels like it's been forever since we've done one, because it's been a while because we did a little exclusive one. Hopefully it'll post
It'll be posted eventually, yeah.
Eventually. It'll be a good surprise gift for y'all. But so we skipped the week because Monday fell on a holiday, blah, blah, blah. I was the one that called off last time, so I'm the poser. I'm not all in.
That's okay.
God damn it.
Nothing.
But let's start it off.
Takes.
Let's crack it up. Let's break the ice with some... Let's get bucked up. What do you think, fellas?
Let's get bucked up. What made you choose the grape Gains, or was that the only flavor they had?
Yeah, I was going to mention that. So when I was I picked these up from Vitamin Shop, and also picked up a tub of protein. Lately, they've had some decent deals on their
the GNC brand, the Sustain blend or whatever?
Vitamin Shop.
Oh, it's Vitamin. Oh.
Yeah, so I went to Vitamin Shop.
You could have gotten free GNC protein
I should
last
have.
night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah, you could have. That's for a later story.
Yeah.
But, Vitamin Shop was not doing any free deals today. And,
5-finger discount.
so I walked in. I was like, well, shit. I need to get drinks for the boys. So I saw all the flavors. I want to try more 3D. That's what I want to try more 3D. I've only tried one.
We haven't had one on here, have
I don't
we?
think I've done one.
No, you did one with Miles.
Yeah, Miles.
We did the silver bullet.
Oh, we did
one.
do the chrome. When
that was
it was
with
Jake
everybody.
and everybody, yeah.
But I want to try more, and I guess GNC only carries them.
I think so. I think
because I looked, and I was like, man, I guess so. So I saw
some 7-Elevens, but not around here really.
Yeah. So Bucked Up caught my eye, and I was gonna get us Blood Raz because I was like, what is Blood Raz? But they only had two. I could have cut one of y'all out and be like, hey, here's a solo cup, you can split it.
Yeah.
But grape was the next best.
The budget's getting low.
We're going down.
2 energy drinks and a water.
Please like and subscribe, or someone's not getting a treat.
The budget's getting tight, guys. Damn, that's pretty funny. But I don't know. Grape's always good.
Yeah. Grape is good, I feel like.
It's hit or miss. We'll see.
I don't know. I feel like it always is a consistent grape flavor.
It is consistent.
But depending on the... what
how
kind of
sweet,
drink it
how
actually
artificial.
is. Yeah.
But I guess the other thing that got me was all the other ingredients that are in it, because I picked up the can, I was like, fuck Bucked Up. I don't really like their products. Sorry. But yeah, I don't like their products. But I was like, I'll try the energy drink, though. And it had a few other ingredients besides caffeine. I was like, all right, well, I can't knock it till we try it. And who knows what the dosing is, so it's probably still not worth a damn. But we're going to give it a shot.
I like the label says, when you feel it, you just got bucked up.
Can you...
oh, shit. It does say
2 things before we crack it. Just because I thought they were interesting. Can you explain... There are 2 things in here.
Yeah.
The deer antler velvet and the teacrine. Because I think that's interesting to keep in an energy drink.
So I at least can talk about the teacrine because I do know a little bit about that. I don't know a ton about deer antler velvet extract, but I've heard plenty of people that are well-knowledge in supplements.
While you're explaining the teacrine, I'll look it up to confirm it.
But teacrine is I guess a different form in the same family of caffeine, but it's a different isolated form, and it allows your body to use it. It doesn't peak so quickly, so it sort of rises up slowly and lasts and peaks like I've seen studies to where it peaks almost like 2 hours later, 2 hours later, and can last a long time coming down. So over 4 to 5 hours, it could still be in your system. So it's a slower released very time released, sustained released form of a stimulant. And dynamine is a lot quicker, which they also have dynamine in here. And dynamine is a patented ingredient along with teacrine, and that peaks really, really quickly, almost quicker than caffeine, or just as quick as caffeine, within 10 minutes.
Wow.
Peaks really quick, but shuts off very quick as well. So having the 2 sort of peaks with dynamine, and teacrine sort of catches up to it. And obviously they have caffeine in it, I'm sure.
So the thing with the deer antler velvet is it's supposed to help your immune system, help a little bit with reducing fatigue and help with recovery because it reduces swelling and stuff. But then the other thing that I think is the part where it's less proven is it's supposed to kind of help with your IGF-1 growth hormone.
That's
so
what it was.
It's supposed to be
Growth
like
hormone.
a natural growth hormone.
Yeah.
In a way,
Hell
but
yeah.
I don't think there's much evidence.
Bigger by the day, damn it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn into Andre the Giant by the end.
I'm thinking Rich.
Yeah.
I'd rather want Rich Piana.
Um,
Fuck Andre. Alpha size. What's that?
I was gonna
What'd
say
you
Oh,
too.
so it's choline. So it's like a focus ingredient.
The term Deer Velvet just reminds me of the dough spray that people like.
Oh yeah, trying to get that
get
deer
the
and
buck,
heat.
yeah.
Want to get that deer and heat smell, that deer piss.
All right, let's crack these guys.
Let's crack 'em.
open.
Let's see. Another thing that's interesting. It's got almost 10,000% vitamin B.
Yeah, that's where the energy comes from, dude. But I love it. Already clear, so no artificial colors.
Good
Not much of a
smell.
smell. Well, there is some. Yeah, a little bit.
That's straight grape. That's traditional grape.
I feel like
Traditional.
I do love a grape. I will say.
This is just like a grape Gatorade.
Yeah,
Like a good traditional grape is a great way to put it.
yeah, traditional grape.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever remember going to Walmart. I don't know if they still, or Sam's Club maybe, they sell these things called grapettes, and they were sodas, grape sodas. I don't think they make them anymore. It's like late 90s, but grapette and orangettes.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were like 60 grams of sugar per can. They were like a carb drink.
You know what they threw in our HelloFresh this morning? We picked up the package, and sometimes they'll throw in like little. Usually they're kind of like sponsored companies that'll throw in a sample of something in there
Yeah.
with it. And this week it was Red Bull.
Oh shit!
And,
Like Red Bull cans?
Like a Red Bull can.
Just one.
Whenever
Okay. Well, that was $5, so
yeah.
that's all they could afford.
They're always expensive. Whenever I used to get books from Chegg, they would always send me a Red Bull can and a Tide Pod along with it.
But anyway, it went in
Yeah.
the trash. Is
Okay.
the point.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't
Because
even
it was
even drink it?
Dude,
You
it's
could've brought it for
one.
Yeah.
One, I don't need the caffeine, and then two, it's
I
like
need
30 grams of sugar, and I was
Oh,
like,
it's a full lead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not unleaded.
nah.
My friend
Gotcha.
Daryl always calls those full fat.
Full fat.
full fat rock star.
Exactly.
Full fat Red Bull.
Back in the day, I used to love Full Throttle.
Oh, so
Remember
be
those?
yes.
Yeah. Full Throttle was very good.
My dad always used to love the actual juice like Sobeys that are the same maker because the cap would have a fortune underneath.
I remember that. Yep.
Sponsored koozies by
Oh.
Gymflo.
Yeah, speaking of sponsorships, today, well, every day this show is on, it is sponsored by one of the greatest of all, Gymflo, and their newest koozie
Fits like a glove.
fits like a glove
Heaviest beer on the beach.
on the beach. Unfortunately, these are not beers today. These are energy drinks, but
Saturday flavored.
they work just as good. But yeah, hopefully these will drop soon. Griffin helped us shoot a skit yesterday. Hopefully we'll have that out for everybody to see here before too long. And these will be going out in orders. You'll see what the dealio is. But moving on, I did get a question. Oh, no, fuck. We need to finish this review.
Oh,
Oh, God
Dude,
damn,
God,
yeah.
we're off
Look,
our game.
look, whoa.
I know,
It's
what
been
are
a
we
week.
off.
It's been a week. We're way off, dude.
We're on island
All right.
time.
So let's, I guess, carbonation. I'm thinking it's moderate. It's not. It doesn't hit you hard. It's definitely there though. Nothing really to write home about.
Yeah, traditional grape.
Yeah. And flavors, grape, like we talked. We kind of did talk about that.
So I did pay. I pay for y'all. I spend a pretty penny on my boys.
$4?
I keep y'all wet and filled up. Keep my boys fueled.
Nice.
But yes,
We're
$3
escorts.
$3 a can.
Okay.
Dang.
That's usual though.
I
isn't
mean,
it,
I
for
guess
most of them?
yeah. For most, I mean, you can get like other like Rain if you wanted to, or Bang for
Yeah.
like it's sometimes 240, 260 at a gas station.
Yeah.
But this is Vitamin Shoppe, so they're probably marking their shit up a little.
Growth hormone.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Come on, man.
be bigger, 30
Yeah,
pounds by the end of
that's
this
where
month.
Spend an extra 40 cents for growth.
I don't want you're gonna have the bubble gut,
Yeah, I'm the Tom
The
Platz of abs.
GH gut.
Can't get bucked up for cheap.
Yeah, when you
Doesn't come cheap.
bucking up ain't cheap, dude. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and there's not much to talk about. Like we said, it's a traditional energy drink. Carbonation's
Give it a
good.
straight 7 on my end.
Okay, good. Flavor, it's good. Not a bad aftertaste. Caffeine, 300. Other ingredients, so I'll take those into consideration of the point. I'm gonna give it a 6.8.
Yeah, I would say probably just shy of 7. I do feel bad sometimes because I feel like we never really have anything above like a 7.5.
Well,
They don't deserve it, dude.
Yeah, the bonus episode we did, but
Yeah, you have to wait.
you'll have to wait for that one.
Dude, you skyrocketed that
yeah,
day.
Yeah, I
he
was
did.
just in a good
He
mood.
moon launched that one.
Now that I'm like 2 weeks removed from that, I'm like, yeah, I was just excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd probably say like 6-8 or
He
so.
woke up feeling good.
It's a 10 kind of day.
Yeah.
Now I'm grouchy today. So.
You're
No,
gonna,
this is good. I would say it's definitely enjoyable. But like probably just it wouldn't come into my mind again. I feel like unless if somebody offered it to me.
especially if you have to drive out to Vitamin Shop to get them, because you don't see these at a gas station.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I'm never gonna give like a grape flavor above a 7 just because it's like grape's not.
Yeah, unless they
my
mix
go-to.
it with something, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways, we all answered. Moving on, I did get some questions, and if y'all don't know about these questions, you follow any of us, I throw up usually every Sunday a questions box on social media, usually on my personal page. Give it a follow, links down in the description below, and you can ask us any questions that you'd like us to hit on or dive deep into on these shows like today. And I did have a dude, pretty regular dude, he's asked questions before, respect, Ryan. I guess I shouldn't have thrown his name out there, but nothing personal. Nothing personal.
You doxed him. We know.
Yeah.
He's never asking questions again. But what are some, and they're just good questions to talk about. What are some of the hardships of building muscle that we find, like in ourselves, I guess, you know, when it comes to building muscle, putting weight on, I guess. It's just a very broad, but like covers the question of what are some of the things we find that are tough for ourselves, you know, and there's a few other questions he asked too, but
Like body parts or
I guess just overall building size, like putting on muscle. What are some
I
of the
would
hardships?
say, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of wonder sometimes when it comes to like towing the line of, okay, this isn't, let's say for example, my chest. I feel like my chest is not where I want it to be. So do I just kind of keep working towards building it and keep doing what I'm doing, try to increase weight, wait more time, kind of give it a year, or do I switch up what I'm doing, switch up my program, exercises, just because it's not happening right now? So I would say for me, that's kind of a thing that I still struggle with sometimes of, you know, should I be patient and just kind of keep laying the bricks, or should I reevaluate things and kind of start over in my head?
I want to
if that
ask you a
makes sense.
question about what you just said, though, so you can elaborate a little bit more. Do you typically, when you train, or for the past, let's say 2 years you've trained, do you typically follow a program, or do you just go in and you're like, oh, I know today is chest day and I'm just going to do whatever's open? Or do you actually have
I do
exercises?
follow a program.
Okay.
Yeah, I like
over the past, at least some considerable amount of time you followed a program?
Yeah, probably for
Okay.
the last it's pretty much since I started, I would
shit.
say. Like
Okay.
there's something
Do you
I
write 'em?
find, yeah, I usually just make it for myself, and I tweak it probably twice a year or so, or like rewrite something, just because I don't know, there's something I feel like that maybe it's like a personal OCD or something, but I kind of just find like I want to feel like I'm making the most complete program for me, whether it comes from exercise selection or rep range, set amount, like order of everything, how everything is split up. Like for example, I like to have like a quad dominant leg day, a hamstring dominant leg day, or kind of when I have more of like a volume oriented block, I like to kind of have my compound at the end of the workout, or like a strength oriented block, I like to have the main compound at the beginning of the workout, or certain things like that, because I kind of just like to at least feel like I have structure so that I can feel like, okay, well, how does this feel? Or how do I feel like I respond to this? Or, you know, towards the end of this particular block, like how did things change? Or how did my strength change? Because I do track everything as well, too. So I kind of like to just do that just to kind of feel like I can, like, autistically go back to the drawing board and, like, look at all the different variables. And
Where
then be like,
things
okay,
started to go down.
game plan next time around, we're doing it this way,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it's kind of just been... And I find, too, I don't know if you guys do this, but, like, I keep everything so that way it's funny sometimes to look back at, 5 years ago, this is what I was doing, and I can kind of shake my head at what I was doing, but then also it's fun to kind of be like, oh, well, I was benching, like, I don't know, like 115 or 135, and that was like my top set. And now we're getting up to like 285 or other things like that as my top set. And it's fun to kind of just be like, well, it's been slow, but it's been more progress than I thought it actually has.
It hasn't actually been sticking for 2 years.
So.
Yeah, just like Griffin, actually, ever since I started lifting, I had a program, and similar to him, like, I've tracked everything over the years, and it's funny to look back and see, like, I remember when I first wrote up a program, I was, like, watching so many YouTube videos and, like, trying to find, like, the most optimal exercises and, like, optimal, like, split and everything, which doesn't really exist. It's just, like, you gotta find what works for you. And I just, 2 exercises I remember that I put on my program to start, I never actually ended up doing, but it's just funny, is a Zercher squat.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's something rough.
To start.
And you started, what, 15?
15.
Builds up that back, dude.
And then a Zotman curl.
What the fuck is that?
It's
That
where you
is
curl
a
it up,
curl
you
up.
turn it, and then come down and reverse curl. But point is, it was too specific to start, so that can be a whole nother discussion. Is where to start. But as far as
I'm
coming,
just imagine you right now, just
I
back
never did
broken.
it. I never tried it. But anyway, yeah.
Punched
But
over.
no, when I'm creating a program, I'm looking at exercise selection. I'm kind of breaking things up to where I can hit every muscle from every angle. Because I think with bodybuilding, that's like what you need to do. Like if you never train your upper chest, you can't expect to have a bigger upper chest. Or if your biceps are lacking, you need to address that. And so what I kind of do when I have a struggling muscle group or I feel like progress is slow, is I try to examine the exercises I'm doing. And like you said, I'm either manipulating to where I either train it more often, so we're looking at frequency, or I'm looking at maybe starting the workout with it, like having a quad dominant day. Or the biggest thing I feel like people don't do is they kind of just pick exercises that either look good or that they see on YouTube as like the best 5 bicep exercises. But you need to pick things that are like the most optimal for your body and that you feel the most. So like for me, I don't like concentration curls. I feel them, but I don't have the best like mind muscle connection with them. So like the biggest thing I try to do is pick exercises that I feel the muscle like super engaged. I feel like I can progress really well. Like for a while I've done like barbell curls, but sometimes I feel like I hit a plateau.
Yeah.
So then I take a break from it and I do a different exercise and I try to focus on getting that super strong. So sometimes you just need to either switch up an exercise and find something that really engages the muscle better for you personally, or just switching up to a different exercise and trying to get as strong as you can at that. Once you plateau, pick a new exercise to get kind of really focused and into. I'm trying to think of anything else I would say, but otherwise, just you gotta train with purpose, I guess. And so sometimes you're kind of just feel like, oh, I'm not making progress, but then when you really examine it, you're not training the muscle as hard as you possibly can. Like I feel like sometimes I don't train arms like with the intensity I do chest and back or legs.
It is funny because actually when he was saying that, like some of the old things he used to do, it made me think a couple weeks ago I went to take some photos off of an old computer and I happened across, like I used to make posts where I would post my workout in the post, if that makes sense, like as part of the picture.
Yeah.
And I want to say this was probably 6 years ago or so, but like it was just funny to see like why was I doing like deadlift pyramid superset with like hyperextensions to failure.
Oh.
Like I'd be doing like 15 deadlifts, hyperextensions to failure, like work up to like
Dude.
3 deadlifts, hyperextensions to failure, and it's like
Strong back.
just some of that stuff is just like okay, like I respect the intensity, but like there's no purpose to that
Yeah.
whatsoever.
The bulletproof backside program, dude.
But it is funny, and that's actually a good point too, is kind of figuring out, with certain exercises, like how do you balance kind of this is an important or kind of essential exercise with like this is an exercise that engages well for me.
Yeah.
Like for example, if you know that guy, I think he's a physique competitor. His name's Andre Ferguson. He says that he pretty much only does flies for his chest days. Like he'll do like 3 or 4 fly variations and then like incline dumbbell. And I think that's funny just because like, we typically think like, bench press or incline bench or flat dumbbell or other things like that. So it's funny to just see that somebody who's at the top level, he doesn't really think in terms of like, oh, this is kind of the essential,
Yeah.
and this is what I need to do or get better at. He just kind of thinks, okay, well, this is what feels the best for me, and let me just try to fatigue myself as best I can. So
Yeah.
I think
it is
especially
interesting.
once you get to like the intermediate and like advanced level, truth be told, like squats may not be the most optimal for like growing your legs at that point. Like
Thank God.
I know. You can just do leg press.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's so good to keep the fundamentals in there, and if you care anything about strength or like overall functionality and like ability, I think that's why like all of us tend to do squats, is because we do enjoy the heavier weight, the overall growth that we get in our legs. But if you're strictly trying to grow your quads, you're getting a lot more engagement and attention when you're just doing leg extensions or Bulgarians and these different exercises that you can overload specifically the quad and maybe limit some stabilizer muscles and core muscles that you would be getting in a back squat. So
Yeah.
you got to kind of re-examine your goals again, and if you are struggling with gaining size, I feel like there's always so many different things you can do. You can train the muscle more, you can kind of alter things, but with taking that extra step, maybe you take away from something else. So it just depends what your goals are, and you could probably turn it up a notch if need be.
I think personally, I have never done a program, ever.
You never even like written out.
No. So I got into working out with a guy who was a bodybuilder 10, 11 years ago, and he would literally go in. We knew what the day was gonna be. Maybe even what the first exercise would be, like to start the day off. But like after that, it's literally, this is feeling good. We're gonna hit it while it's hot, and if it's not feeling good, we're gonna do something else that does feel good. It's like one of those like taking it as it goes. And we never really tracked weight. We were always just making sure that like if we would be making sure we were at least hitting 10 or more of reps. And if you were hitting more than like 15, it's time to bump the weight up. So like a 10 to 15 rep range, and finding a weight that you could get of that and hitting like 4 working sets. But yeah, never had really like a structure, which I think looking back, I think I'd have more progress if I did.
I like that though, because usually after I finish a program, I'll take like a week or two and just kind of do fun exercises or kind of just do it by feel. And I will say, like, there is something to kind of reset again of just, like, it is fun to kind of, I would say, just fatigue yourself in that way versus just, okay, last week I did 55 pounds. This week I'm going to try 60 pounds. And, like, I find sometimes that, there is more of a linear progression there, but I feel like I never really get that same, that fire that you're kind of talking about. I just know for me, though, without a program, I typically find that, like, I like leg extension better than front squat, so I'm gonna do leg extension today. And then like I'm used to like 110 pounds, so like I'll stick with 100. So like without it, I need to like light the fire under my ass to be able.
And some people do need that. Some days I'm not gonna lie. Some days if I don't have anything in my mind and you're going in with the shit mindset anyways, like the day's been long and it's like, well, fuck, I'm gonna pick whatever's easiest and most laziest thing I can do and just do it. But lately, like during the quarantine especially, with limited equipment, you kind of have to do the hard shit because all I have is a barbell and squat rack. So like leg days have been like 10 sets of 10, or like I'll do 10 sets. Like my last leg day was like at least 10 or 11 sets, and like 4 or 5 of those sets was like 225 for 15, and then I did 275 for like 4 sets of 10. And I'd like pyramid up, pyramid back down type of deal. And it was just like, by the time I was done, I didn't do anything else. It was like, fuck, I was drenched. Legs were blown, knees were in pain. I was like, dude, I'm ready to get the fuck out of here. But,
I think there's a lot of value in training with like intuition, which is basically like what you're doing. I think you learn your body a lot more, and you learn like when to push yourself, when to pull back. And I think going with the flow, sometimes you end up with a better workout. But I think for the long term, like look at things, I think a program's better.
Yeah.
But giving yourself days to like have a little freedom, because like how I normally train is I'll have my program, like Griffin said, like written out. I have the days, I have the exercises. And I'm picking exercises with intent. So, like, if I'm doing triceps, I'll pick 3 exercises. I make sure I'm hitting, like, 1 exercise is for the long head. One's, typically, like, a push down where I can really, like, overload, isolate, pump higher reps, get more lateral head or medial head. And, like, I have it kind of, scattered like that to, like I said, where I'm hitting every angle or every, kind of fiber of the muscle. But I do give myself some, like, freedom, especially, like, with, like, my larger muscle groups, the chest, back, legs, like... I have my main movement, my compound. I always start with an exercise or start with a muscle group. So for pull-up or for back, sometimes it's pull-ups or barbell row. For chest, it's like a barbell bench or a dumbbell bench. But when it comes to like the last 2 exercises, I kind of mix it up. Like if I'm feeling good and want to do a pec deck fly, I'll do the pec deck fly. If I want to do decline cables, I'll do decline, or sometimes upper. Like I give myself some freedom and intuition, and think, go off, the flow basically.
Yeah.
But sometimes it is better to just kind of go with the flow and see how your body's feeling that day. But like you said, sometimes if you don't have any kind of like, what do you call it, mandatory things and items to check off, you end up being a little lazy or not going as full
There's
or
days
as hard as you can.
where I'm just like, fuck a squat.
Yeah.
I'm going to just figure out something else to do. Lunges, body weight, or something, But to split the difference, if you are training for strength, we can all agree that it needs to be programmed.
Absolutely.
Like, it must. For you to, like, truly get your potential, push progressively.
Or else you're just dicking around.
You probably won't get much stronger if you aren't going to, at least write it out and have a plan in place. But I think for, hypertrophy, you can get away with not having everything.
Well, because
I
think the thing with like growing a muscle and overload is it's so many different ways you can do it. Sometimes it is heavier weight, sometimes it's lighter weight, sometimes it's higher rep, medium rep. It's so different from person to person too. It's types of exercises you can do. It's drop sets. It's force reps. There's so many different ways where you can stimulate and overload the muscle in different ways that it doesn't have to be the hardest exercise or it doesn't have to be the heaviest weight. Versus for powerlifting, it's like you are having to do an objective, test later with the bench press. So if you're not doing the bench press and then you go and try and do it, it's just not going to get where you're at. Like bodybuilding, it's more appearance based, obviously. So I don't know. There's just different ways to skin a cat versus powerlifting. It's kind of more straightforward.
So, what do you think? I'm just asking this like a clueless person, but like, what do you think? Is eating important to gain muscle?
Yes, I would say so, and especially consistency in that regard.
Yes.
And that is probably my other struggle too, because
The hardship.
a lot of times, they always say like if you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail, and I prepare to fail a lot because I'm like, I'll meal prep tomorrow, and then it's like, I'm kind of tired. I'll meal prep tomorrow. And then it's like, wait, it's Friday.
3 years later.
And so it's definitely one of those things, like, you kind of have to train that part of your brain, I find, to kind of like enjoy kind of the short-term discomfort for the long-term goal. And I find like across the board for that. So if it is meal prepping, if it is, I don't know, tracking or this or that, like, I don't know, just being able to start making that, like we talked about, I don't know, was that on the bonus one? Kind of a non-negotiable of just,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
it will get done.
Yeah, I think, it goes with the saying you got to eat big to get big. And I think it's, like, so true that it's not just about, like, a short period thing. Like, it has to be consistent. Just like with, dieting, you can't just take the weekends off, and, like, we've had clients do that before where, where they're just, like, the first few weeks, they're just, like, taking the weekend off.
Saturday
and we're like,
don't count, dude.
We're like, no, I don't care if you're, at the boathouse or wherever you're at. Like, you can't just take the weekend off because those 2 days add up, and you could be basically eating back what you were making a deficit, during the week. So same deal with applies with gaining weight. You got to consistently eat, in that surplus, and like you said, you got to plan ahead. The biggest struggle with me that I find, I can hit the calories at this point. I've gotten used to eating more than I comfortably want to. It's eating them with high quality food, like not a bunch of ice cream or bullshit. Like trying to eat like clean 3,000, 4,000 calories is very hard.
Yeah,
I find.
And that's what I've found actually in the past few months is trying to, because I usually do eat all my calories. I try to at least have it mostly be like single ingredient or like kind of whole foods. But I definitely have found that in doing that, I'm much more receptive to a like lower carb and higher fat diet, because otherwise, like after every meal of like a high carb rice or like potatoes or other things like that, I'm just zonked unless I just
keep moving, bro.
drive to the gas station and grab a bang, because otherwise it's like maybe it's like an insulin thing or something like that. But if I find that if it's actually more of like I don't want to say like clean food, but you know what I mean. But if it's a high volume of carbs or something like that,
they just fill you up longer.
I'm just passed out right afterwards.
I don't know if it's how your body absorbs it or whatever, like you said, but like for example, potatoes, any kind of potato, just sits in my stomach in like a good way, not in like a bad way, but it just keeps me full. Like I could just have like one serving of red potatoes or whatever, and I'm just full from that. Versus like white rice kind of goes through me faster. It's lighter in my stomach, and so. But even with something that's lighter in my stomach, though, like you said, like if I'm having 400 grams of of carbs, which is basically what I'm at now, and I'm having it all from oats and like fruit and rice. It's like I have to eat a fucking shit ton just to get that in 400 calories. So like I end up finding myself having chips or having either ice cream or like rice cakes or I don't know different
rice
sources.
cakes is a lot of volume though. You know, like if you eat 2 rice cakes, like how many carbs is that?
I've crushed a sleeve before.
Sleeves aren't that hard. Like a
You
full
used
sleeve.
to eat a ton.
I
That
used
and
to.
bagels.
You want to hear my high school diet in junior or senior year? For a couple months, my parents would get the Costco like Halo Top 4-pack for a while, and so my pre-workout meal, I get home from
$50.
Yeah, I get home from school at like 4, and I'd crush a Halo Top peanut butter, so that's like 300 calories, full pint,
Guilt-free.
and then guilt-free, and then I'd have a whole sleeve 7 rice cakes with peanut butter.
Oh.
And so I'd be like 1,000 calories deep right there, and then I'd go train legs in a little bit, and yeah.
My problem too on the no meal prep, failing to meal prep kind of thing is sometimes I will like, especially with working at Gold's, like a lot of times I'll be like, oh crap, I don't have time for breakfast, and then I'll get there, and then between clients I'll go get Chick-fil-A. And then I'll have a whole thing of eggs in the fridge, but then not eat any of them during the week. But then Saturday morning, just like, well, I can eat a dozen eggs, and it like counts the same as like if I had eaten 2 every day leading up to this day or something like that. So
I see, yeah.
sometimes the mental gymnastics is kind of funny what you put yourself through.
To build off diet, have any of y'all ever considered like trying to do keto?
No.
I've thought about it because I do like listening to people talk because I feel like diet, I've got pretty much all of the knowledge I feel like I need about training except for more of the, I would say like more of the feel and understanding of that stuff. But I would say in regards to just like education or training variables, I feel like I know enough that I'm confident in that. But when it comes to diet, sometimes I feel like there's a lot about nutrition or micronutrients or absorption or digestion that I still feel like for example, if you've ever heard of the FODMAP, that is like the digestibility of certain vegetables or different foods to where like if you eat in accordance to that, then you won't feel like you're bloated or other things like
Is
that.
that like related to the vertical diet?
Similar to that, he touches on it within the vertical diet. The vertical diet has some interesting things, but I find that like it's a little restrictive, and there's other things that you can have that are not within the diet that still like it makes sense, if that makes sense. Because the vertical diet, it's like he has his list of things to kind of hit the micronutrients, and then it's just like steak and rice to get the rest of your calories. But I find that, you can still eat under those principles that are important, but you can eat outside of the vertical diet without feeling like you're restricted to what's in that.
Yeah.
But essentially, like, if you were to eat like beans and broccoli and like, other similar vegetables, you'd probably just be like, I don't know, gassy and not feeling so great compared to like if you were to eat, let's say like carrots and I can't remember some of the
Just
foods
like
that
how,
are on it. But you
how
know what
foods
I mean?
operate,
Yeah.
digest, and absorb.
So I like learning about that kind of stuff, but I have looked at keto before, but my mentality with that is I just don't feel like removing an entire macronutrient from the diet is sustainable long term, as well as you kind of have to continue to check your ketosis levels and this and that.
That's,
But
I think, the reason why I never did it. I think my junior in high school, that's when it was starting to become like really popular. And I was like, like maybe I'll try this because this one older guy at the gym I respected, and I think he was doing it. And I was like, shit, I feel like, I like beef and eggs, so I could try it. So,
cheese.
yeah, I thought about doing it, never even got close to like trying it. But, and for a while I was like, oh, these keto freaks and all this stuff. And generally I still am in agreement that like you said, it's not sustainable long term. I don't think it's great for like most people's bodies and everything. But I'm kind of like intrigued of it just because like again like how some people's bodies kind of start to feel better and operate. And I feel like, I mean, it's just like any kind of diet. If you follow it to a T, you follow how it's supposed to be done, it seems like it works pretty well for people. However, I think the biggest reason why I won't probably is just because I feel good with my diet now. Like I'm not sluggish. I don't have headaches or issues or digestion problems or anything with how I'm eating now. So I think generally I'm fine. But I do find it, I am mentally more open to it than previously. I was kind of like more shut down with it, like this is kind of stupid, but yeah, I would just say I have more of an open mind the past few months about it.
I think especially for me, when I first started lifting, I kind of followed I would just look up like bodybuilder I followed, interviewer, bodybuilder I followed, diet, and then just try to copy.
Eating,
and it was essentially a lot of, like chicken broccoli, tilapia asparagus, et cetera, egg whites, this and that. So really I would always kind of think in my head, okay, well my fats can't get above like 80 grams, or my fats can't get above this or that. But I've found, especially in the past year or so, to kind of flip-flop that to where, it is interesting that if you think about the diet itself, the two necessary macronutrients are proteins and fats. You can't have a diet without fats, and you really can't have a diet without protein either. So really the carbs are the only kind of negligible macronutrient. So I've actually found that at least in the past like year or two, I've kind of flip-flopped it to where now like I've gone from eating like whatever it was, 450 carb or whatever, and 80 grams of fat, to where now I kind of eat like 130, 150 grams of fat and like 270 or so carb, I would say. And I feel a lot better because, I don't know, I just find that I don't feel like I get energy spikes as much throughout the day. And I can kind of center most of my carbs around my training, as well as I find that, a lot of fat sources, I can kind of... it makes food a little bit more enjoyable for me, as well as I find that, some of the protein sources that have higher fat content have other benefits as well, like red meat or salmon, or, if you have chicken thighs, you're also getting like the collagen that comes from some of the joints or other things like that, that kind of, it's not just chicken breasts and white fish and other things like that. So
two things that have interested me, not to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
But one is a lot of people and a lot of clients that I work with, and you see most people when they are prepping for a show or dieting, like their first thing to do is they're cutting carbs, right? They're dropping weight like via that, and a lot of people operate pretty well off like, higher fats and lower carbs, right? I feel like my body has always done well with like higher carb, even if it is something absurd like 450 while my fats are like 100. And I think it's just some people's bodies like us, we're just tanks. We just run through them, And
I've always been skinny, so I don't know, but like I was always skinny, so I could just literally eat a lot of carbs, and my body like.
Well, my body, I was like chubby growing up, but I think it was more from lack of activity and a mixture of the kinds of foods I was eating. Because once I started like training more frequently, I did have that complex to where like I have to eat an absolute absurd amount of food to like gain weight. So I feel like. I just enjoy eating carbs more. Of course, I feel like everyone does, and I just run through them better. But it is a good point that a lot of people do, feel better off that. But also where I noticed this for me was because like when I was prepping for my show, or just anytime I cut in general, when I slowly drop my fats, that's when like my weight falls off. It's like when I start dropping the fats. It's not because I don't need them, but I think my body just utilizes carbs well, and so the fats aren't as needed past 70 grams. I feel like, but
so. That right there was me. I started that prep, and my fats from day one never went over 30 grams.
Oh, God.
Carbs never went below 300.
I know girls, they can't go under 30 fats if they'll lose their period, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, obviously, I utilize other supplements to where low fat does not bother my hormones. Take that for what you want. So typically for most people, take your deer antler velvet. But most people, 30 is like unhealthy as shit. Like you need fat for your brain, your hormones.
I never would advise men to go under 60 and women to go under 40 grams.
But for about like 20 weeks, maybe even longer, I was under 30 grams. But my carbs were very high. Protein might have been like 100 to 80 to 100 grams a day.
I mean, I just noticed it when I cut my I mean, everyone notices they're more sluggish when they cut their carbs, but like I just noticed if I cut my fat, I feel that generally the same. But if I cut my carbs like 20 grams and I don't have that for my workout, especially with me training in the morning, I'm freaking toast. But the other thing I was going to bring up too is I feel like I'd like to eat more like fish because, like you mentioned, a lot of people do eat fish and there are like good omega-3s, good benefits. But I feel like one isn't. I mean, I guess it depends what kind of fish you get. I feel like white fish isn't as expensive, but I wonder how expensive it is compared to like eating chicken that regularly that I would. And then two, isn't there an issue with like getting too much mercury?
Yeah.
in fish?
Well, it
How much do you have to
depends
eat to get there?
because
I don't know. Jason Hugg got it. I don't know if y'all remember.
Like, he got it like a year or two ago, eating so much sushi. He'd eat it like twice a week, 3 times a week, maybe.
I think a big factor in that too is A, the quantity, and then B, where it's sourced from. A lot of fish farms are kind of, they might be in Central America, and I've seen a few videos where somebody's taken a GoPro and like dunked it down into a salmon farm, and like all the fish have like tumors, and there's like thousands just swimming in this. They kind of just throw antibiotics in like colored pellets so that when the fish eat it, like the salmon will turn pink, even though they don't actually have the nutrients within them to have a naturally pink color, if that makes sense. So a lot of that kind of stuff, I think, is where you get more of the like quote unquote toxins that will give you the mercury poison. So that's the thing, is kind of just check maybe when you eat it, maybe have it just a few times a week or like 3 times or so. Maybe have it, if you have it more regularly, a smaller amount, and then just kind of check where you get it
Because
from.
I fuck with fish. Fish is good.
Yeah.
All kinds.
I think typically, I don't know if this might be true, might not. It could be just me talking out of my ass. The more popular fish are more, maybe higher chance of having mercury in them than like something that would be like swordfish or mahi-mahi or something like very like not common, like tuna or salmon. I feel like tuna and salmon are like notorious for having a lot of mercury.
It's kind of like what you were telling me about yesterday, is when something grows as big as it gets, or popularity, you kind of have to cut back on something to be able to make it as
make the margin
easy as it can be
grow.
to access, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's kind of why. And same with shrimp as well.
Yeah. Shrimp.
Yeah, shrimp's good.
Shrimp.
Expensive, man.
Hell yeah. Fucking A. Everything seems to be expensive except chicken right now, but whatever.
I don't know how Captain George gets away with. Have you ever been there?
No, it's
maybe like years
I don't
ago.
know
All
what
you
that
can eat
is.
crab legs. You go in, I think it's like $45
Crab
or
is
something.
good, though.
But it's just all you can eat crab legs. You can have like hot melted butter with hot sauce, like vinegar, etc.
I get lazy with crab legs, man. I'm tired. Like, I'm done cracking them, man. I'm
yeah.
like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
I'm messy.
I do kind of get this like weird feeling if I eat a ton in one sitting. It almost is like, it's not like a full feeling. It's like okay, that's enough. Like, it's
But-
more of like a head feeling.
I do like foods though where you got to work for it, like pistachios or peanuts,
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
you feel like you're burning as much as you're eating, even
Yeah.
though you're not.
One thing that pisses me off is when people leave the tails on in like shrimp pasta.
Oh, yeah,
And
dude.
it's like, take the tail off
Yeah.
before you serve it to me. Like,
I've
what am I
been
gonna
lazy
do
with that,
it?
and I'll just eat the tail too. But it sucks to crunch from that shit. I've eaten it before.
Dang.
But
What is another question we got?
yeah,
There's
so-
a couple.
under that was, next one is fake trainers. And I don't know how to take that question. Does that mean like there's fake trainers, in which I'm sure there are plenty of them out there, but I don't know how to take it. I wish there was more context to it. Like, I guess people that maybe are trying to be trainers but don't have any experience, or acting like they're a trainer and they haven't. I don't know.
I can probably, I would interpret it as, there are certain, something that surprised me is, there are degrees of certifications, I find, or understanding of the knowledge it takes to become like a personal trainer.
Yeah.
But it's funny to just think that, whether somebody got like a weekend cert essentially, or has like a degree, or like a more credentialed cert that requires more knowledge or understanding, that's both lumped under like personal trainer, I would say.
Yeah.
And it was interesting when I first started working as a trainer that like, oh, this person who also is a trainer like doesn't believe in weightlifting, or like I'm the only person that works here that lifts, or like 3 other people that work here smoke, or other things like
Yeah.
that. So it was interesting to me to just be like, if I was a client, it really is luck of the draw with who you might be paired with, to where you could be screwed.
I told
and
my
then
clients,
that would be your knowledge
Yeah.
going into it, to where anyone
they're
else
a
you have,
professional.
That's how it
anyone
is,
else you have, you compare it to what you initially
Yeah.
did. With
I
that
told one
training.
of my clients, they were, and I told my other clients this too, but it's like, this one girl I'd worked with for like a year told me like, oh, I've had such a great experience, and like I'm so glad like I signed up with a personal trainer. And I was like, well, I'm glad you've had that experience. There's so many people that they sign up with a personal trainer, they get someone who's shitty,
Yep.
and that's their opinion on all personal trainers or like lifting in general. And like you said, there's so many trainers that I don't know if it's a lack of experience, or they get their cert too quickly, or just a bad cert. But you get these people like you mentioned that. Where I worked at, majority didn't work out, or if they did, sometimes they had like weird opinions on weightlifting, or they'd only been weightlifting for like 2 months, or we had some trainers that like didn't believe on knees past the toes for squats, or don't go past parallel, or like these weird things that are like super gimmicky, or they just, in my opinion, anytime you find like a trainer that holds a certain training, like a what would I say? Like a certain style or diet type, like too close to heart, where they don't even consider other options. Like, oh, it has to be done this way, or you have to like train with hit intervals, or you have to follow keto. That's usually like a red flag if people aren't kind of if a trainer isn't more open-minded, or at least kind of believes in the whole idea that we talked about of like finding what works best for you. Now, there's some like principles that are pretty universal, like squatting obviously for most people should be done. It has good benefits. Like some of those things, like there's universal training principles or beliefs, but sometimes you notice these people that just have these like really weird creative things that might work for them, and then they just train their client how they work out.
Yeah,
You
that's a
get
big
that a
thing,
lot too.
Yeah.
Or something I find that's funny is, with clients, there's a certain degree of, I try to always explain kind of the umbrella of everything, or like the hierarchy of importance of things. But, some people have more of a degree of hand holding that they need, to where like, I never try to make people feel like these are the 10 things that you have to eat in accordance to this list, or else you'll be fat, or something like that. I try to explain at least like give them the knowledge that like you can kind of go out to eat with a significant other, or like have this or that, and kind of make it fit within your lifestyle or your schedule or this or that. But it is funny to see sometimes like when people and especially like in more of a corporate or commercial gym, I find that it's like when people that are trainers, they kind of, I don't know what it is. Maybe like when you just kind of start to learn something, then you just think that this is the way that it is, and never really explore like more options or kind of try other things. It is funny to me sometimes to be around other people that might be in their 50s or 40s or something like that, and they're still talking about like, it's almost like the high school football coach of like, this is what I did back in my day. This is what you're going to do in your day.
That's what I mean. I feel like people they start like lifting and they're excited. And I get it. I was the same way when I was like 15, 16. Like you start lifting, you're starting to get some results. You're like, oh, sweet. Like I'm going to show my friend. I'm going to take my friend through this workout.
Yep.
And so that's when they kind of get into the feeling like, oh, I'm going to start helping other people get fit. And they kind of forget that just because you've gotten to, to point B, doesn't mean you can show someone how to get to point B, because everyone is so different, unique, their starting point, what works for them and their body. And so I think the biggest thing you should look for in like a trainer, and a difference between a quote-unquote fake or not fully educated trainer and a real trainer, is like being able to on the spot fix an issue, come up with a creative solution. Because, and sometimes I even like surprise myself, and I'm like, okay, I do know what I'm talking about, because sometimes I'm like, am I one of these trainers,
Yeah.
But sometimes, like one time I had this elderly client, and she's doing Bulgarians, and she often has a hip issue, so we have to work around that, and some days it's worse than others. So she was feeling it for a while on her hip, and I was like, that's weird that sometimes we have issues, sometimes we don't on a specific exercise, and looking for her hip angle and where she's tilting, and then what the solution basically was and I realized this
Up
would
the weight.
Yeah, up the weight, bitch. But I realized that taking her back foot and putting it further away from the other one would kind of put less tension on the glute and more tension on the quad, and it would level out her hips more. And so being able to do that is something, I think generally what I'm trying to say is that I feel like people stop their education and just stay in, like you said, they stay in their bubble of what has worked for them, and they hold those values near and dear, and they don't kind of explore other areas of training, even if it's not something that you normally do. Like, for example, when I got into teaching boot camp for a year at VCU, I thought that was so helpful.
Richard Simmons.
Yeah. All right, ladies, let's work. But anyway, and it forced me out of my shell though, because I was so used to bodybuilding movements or at least strength training, and now I had to think of more athletic stuff, more plyometrics when it comes to warming up, cooling down. This is my first time really teaching a group or a small group training where I'm dealing with more people, and so it kind of forced me out of my shell of what exercise to use, interval training, doing different timing stuff, stations, and so. You need to, even if you don't, get forced into a situation where you have to learn, I feel like actively trying to learn different styles of training is crucial to be a valuable trainer and be able to adapt to each client individually.
At least for me, with training, most of my clients, unless they have a specific goal, I tend to just keep it mostly functional. I don't really hop on any equipment, mostly any machines, unless we're trying to isolate, like I said, something for a goal, but... Most of the time, it's pretty functional movements, compound movements, and functionability. So stuff that you would just help your daily life.
Yeah, because most clients aren't trying to get jacked and swole.
Because I train like a bodybuilder. If I train them like that, they probably wouldn't lose a ton of weight. I mean, they probably would, but they aren't training for, to plump up some different areas like I'm trying to do.
I train this 80-year-old lady, and she's always I do things with her for more so balance, mobility, making sure that she feels confident and there's no risk of falling or other things like that. But we do some strength training and sumo squats or other things like that. But she always cracks me up, and I'll kind of mess with her because she's like, now I don't want to get big legs. And I'll be like, oh crap, what have we been doing this entire time?
Squats,
no.
Bulgarians, sumos.
All it needs is one more squat, and they're going to...
Yeah, 1 more gram of protein.
Squidward
get off the juice, Grandma. Damn. But yeah, and that was pretty much it. I mean, I covered the last question, which was problem clients. Everybody has their own, and I'm sure we could talk for days about people that we've just had problems with, or they're just so headstrong on their own specific way. Why'd you hire me then? Or some of those type of clients. We've talked about it before in the past. But
one thing I would say, in regards to training or in any type of field, I think there's value in when somebody asks you something, being able to say, I don't know, and not feeling like you need to almost allow ramble or make up an answer just to kind of feel like they think that you are knowledgeable about something.
And there's nothing wrong, like you said, with telling a client I'm not really sure, but I'm going to look into it after a session today and get back to you, and we'll come up with something.
Yeah.
Because that happens a lot too. If you look at my Instagram, I have a lot of mobility exercises or different things, and I don't have all that stored perfectly in my head. I have, some certain exercise that I do often with clients or with myself for shoulders or hips or back. But sometimes if you're having a weird issue, or my one client who has, sometimes the shoulder's acting up, or sometimes it's the hip, and it's either maybe due to a past surgery or injury. Sometimes you need to, you might have to do a lot more research that you don't know, and you'll have to come up with something that, is more creative. And sometimes you may not have an answer. And it may just be something you have to work around or, figure out through your time with her, and just figuring out what exercises bother, what don't, and just realize it doesn't have to be a one answer, perfect answer every time. So. And
YouTube's the best place to go to find those answers most of the time. But, I agree with you on that, because there's a lot of questions. I've had clients with plenty of injuries where I'm like, yo, I'm going to have to get back with you or send you a video on how to rehab that or whatnot, just because, I'm not a physical therapist for the most time.
You don't
I'm
have
not,
to be perfect for them. Yeah. I think, and they'll respect you for that, I think.
Yeah. But as far as that goes, I think just switching gears a little bit, because that was a bunch of questions right there. You didn't train legs today, but Brock did.
Skipped them.
Little leg day action. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to squat today. I'm tell you right now, this last squat session, it wasn't the amount of squats I did. I don't know what happened because I didn't feel it during the squats, but my left glute. Do you know, like, I could point it out, like, right under your ass cheek. Here's your ass crack. Inside
It's medical terminology.
ass crack, inside ass cheek, left. Blown out for some reason.
Piriformis, I guess.
I guess, like,
Yeah,
what?
it's a deep glute muscle.
Deep.
Yeah.
Deep.
You just need to take. You just do the old figure 4 stretch.
Okay.
Get a lacrosse ball or tennis ball.
Yeah.
Just roll out. That
Roll it out?
Lean towards the side that's up.
Oh, dude. When I
That'll
just sit
kill.
on it like this, oh my god.
Yeah, that's what you gotta do. Just do.
Yo.
Well, do the first figure 4 stretch, and
Yeah.
then you can roll on with a lacrosse
I got a squat
ball.
today though, so is that gonna hit it? I'm just
Take some salt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take some salt.
fucking A.
Double scoop, you'll be good.
Well, I've got my growth hormone, so hopefully that'll repair it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna hopefully try and train legs today myself. But what'd you go through?
All right, so I went through. I think we actually did this like 3 weeks ago, but I did 255 for sets of 8.
Okay.
I think we were going to do 250 for sets of 8 one week. We just did 255 because that's just pussy to use the little 2.5s. But so I think it's a weight I've done in the past. But I was like, you know what, I can do it again or just do it better. And so I hit that sets of 8, went pretty well, pretty smooth. And then I did a set of 12 with 185, which is something I've been doing with basically all my compounds the past year and a half, and I found like really good success. At least it feels like success with it. Is basically doing 3 working sets only. I used to always do like 4 with my compounds, but doing like 3 working sets, and then the 4th set basically is still a working set, but it's kind of like a back off set is what I'll call it, where it's a little bit lighter, and I'm pushing myself close to failure. It's not technically like a drop set per se, but it's kind of treated in a similar way, but it's a full rest in between. But anyway, and then I did walking lunges down the driveway, which feels good when the sun's beating down on you. Took off the shirt.
It's a good day for it.
It wasn't a good day. I was trying to even the tan, and did what was it, like 15 on each leg, or 12 or 15 on each leg for lunges with about 65 on my back, and then I skipped Jefferson's today because I thought we'd do them Friday, and then what I finished with leg extension with the red band around the up bench, so a little kind of trigged it up, and then line leg curls and kettlebell single leg RDL and calf raises for sure. Body weight.
We'll see in a few weeks.
Yeah. But and that was it. Felt good. It was a good workout. Got it done pretty fast. It was like an hour or so.
So Griffin, are you gonna be training today or what?
No, probably not.
It's turning into soy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll probably just do the legs on Friday. I did take a nice long walk today, so I figured that counts.
Yeah. Take it.
Sometimes I like to have 2 rest days a week. So
Lately, that's just the way it falls, though. With all this shit, it's hard
You
to
guys are
be
pussies
consistent.
over here.
And I know we aren't. Well,
I worked my mind today.
Yeah.
Can you say the same?
no negotiating, Griffin. Okay.
Oh yeah, good. Yeah,
Good.
I'll do that.
Good. Go. Mulk.
So I'll just put my car in neutral and push it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hoping though. So last night, this is the way the day planned out. We went down to the river, shot a skit for the koozies, and came back. And I was like, all right, I need to hit the store and I'm gonna hit the gym. But it was like 6:45,
curfew.
7. Yeah, and I was like, Richmond had an 8 p.m.
Call it in
curfew.
on you.
Yeah, so I was like, well, do I just chance it and drive out to New Kent, work out, and like come back through downtown and maybe hit a protest
Turn
or
off
something
your
like
lights.
that? Yeah, just dude, the dark night just coming through.
Yeah.
And or sit back, not go. I sat back and I did not go. I did go for a 40-minute walk, so that was pretty good.
Valuable time with the cats, though,
Yes,
I'm sure.
they enjoyed that. But me and Sarah, we got outside, we hit the streets, and we walked a little bit around the apartment complex. But I'm sure people were like, what are these people? They starting a mini protest out
Yeah,
here? They're like,
Is Austin Antifa?
yeah, dude, I am.
You got a bike helmet on.
Gotham's Reckoning.
Give back to you, the people.
But yeah, no, we were just protesting how high rent is for real.
Too damn high.
Trying to burn this bitch down.
Yeah.
But yes, that was good. And I went out to the store at 7:20. Curfew's at 8. 7:20. All the stores are already closed. Manager was sitting outside. He's like, "Hey, we closed an hour ago, man."
Were they boarded up?
No,
Oh.
but there were a few businesses on Forest Hill that were starting to board up when I drove through. was like, damn.
You know what would be interesting is what products in GNC were left from the loot, because I saw that like it was mostly looted, but some products were left. So I'm wondering what people were like. You know what? It's not even worth it for you.
Yeah,
it's vegan protein.
Yeah.
Damn.
Organ.
Organ. They can't give this stuff away.
But the Alani new is out quick. I
Gone.
bet. Yeah.
Or the Nugenix.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Testosterone
Test
booster.
booster. Test is gonna be 9,000, bro.
Unflavored.
Some updates for sure with Gymflo, since they are the sponsor of the show all day, every day.
Yeah, I'd like to hear some updates since I
Yeah.
didn't get
I
anything.
hear the CEO is a prick.
Yeah, he's
Oh, he is.
What a dumbass. Dumbass. But yeah, Overcome. That has finally, if you didn't catch up the last YouTube vlog, we finally nailed down the flavor. All of us got to try it. All of us. And flavor is pretty good. I'm excited to bring it out, especially lately with how hot it's been. I think it'd be nice to have it on ice
lemonade.
and sipping on it, getting us fueled up, keeping us hydrated, because there's a hydration aspect that we added to it. Y'all see the formula here soon. That's definitely going to keep you hydrated, keep you moving forward, keep you recovering. So I'm excited for that. And then also, secret product that should be, hopefully some samples arriving soon of that.
Project X.
Yeah.
Project
I'm
XX.
excited.
Triple X. Bigger by the day. But that literally just finalized the formula, the quotes on it and whatnot, and going to get the manufacturer hopefully to send that out. Probably, I don't know, it's kind of late now by the time I get on a phone call. Maybe out by tomorrow, and maybe have it within 14 days or some shit after that. But I'm excited
How
for
many
that.
samples?
I'm going to definitely ask him for a few, because I'm
We'll
going
have
to
to
be like,
save it for a arm day.
arms
Oh,
or
yeah.
chest. Is the pec deck, where's that at?
In storage.
Oh, gotcha. Oh. Well, anyways.
What peg? No.
I don't know.
I mean, if you're on Instagram, you've probably seen it. But if you
Yeah,
know, you know.
got some
But
equipment. But
Yeah, the
anyways.
peg deck's in storage.
Damn.
Unfortunately.
Might have to get that just
All the best
for
shit's in storage.
But anyways, yeah, we'll definitely
I
have
was
to...
hoping they didn't loot that shit. I was looking. I was like, if the I would have ridden up
Burnt it
there.
down.
Yeah.
Stay away.
Just your one single unit.
Yeah.
I know.
Damn, that's pretty good.
I do have a slingshot we can make, dude. Just find like a piece of glass. Back off.
Are you going to be the guy with the bow and arrow with the
I
slingshot? Just
know.
one shot and you're done?
Yeah.
throwing creatine in their eyes.
Yeah. Pocket sand.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Did you ever see that King of the Hill?
Yeah.
Pocket sand.
But, yeah, hopefully some samples of that coming in soon. Maybe some more shirts. We're getting a few shirt designs that have dropped in. I'm very excited for those. Just waiting for things like our editor. He's a great guy. He's been pumping out some cool stuff, and he works for other companies as well. So, we get shit when we can. And excited for some other projects that are coming along as well, hopefully. But anyways, that's pretty much the overall updates. Check out for the koozie dropping soon. I'm sure we'll do something cool, some type of cool deal with that to where you can get them for free. Anything else in y'all's minds? You got it?
Oh, I wrote down something. Unless you
Yeah,
had
break it
something,
out.
Griffin.
No. What's...
Well, because I was like wondering if we had like specific questions or topics today.
Mm-hmm.
And oh yeah, it's one question. What do you guys think about whether like garage gyms will be like the future, or what do you think is like the difference, or like what kind of equipment would keep you at your house if you had like a decked out garage gym? Like what would that look like? However you want to interpret this question of like, do you think garage gyms are kind of like the future, that more people will be using them, or / like if you had a garage gym, what would you need in there to kind of keep you from going to the gym, or would it keep you at all?
Can I answer real quick that like doesn't answer your question directly, but it
Interpret
revolves?
however you want, yeah.
With Virginia specifically, it looks like, and I just got a text from my client a little bit ago, something about Northam indefinitely postponing phase 2 or whatever, or like phase 3. Like, I don't know, I have to check. But with that being said, though, that means gyms will not open indefinitely until, he decides. So, garage gyms could be popping off, but does anybody have the money right now to invest into it? And knowing that they're like, oh, well, I might just wait until the gyms open up. I don't know. We just realized how much equipment costs. I don't know if people are willing to invest it. Maybe, maybe not. But anyways, I'm going to take a pee.
Most people can't afford it, but I'll pee right after,
We'll warm it up.
Bladder strikes again. Yeah,
WebMD prostate cancer really quick while he's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think people don't have. I think the space is more of a deal than the money. Like for example, I think most
True.
people, if they have a garage space, they have a car in there. Like my parents, like luckily they have a two car garage, yeah. And so they're putting one out for me so I can have like the squat rack and the barbell and the space in there. But you know, unless you have either like the space or you just want to kick out your car, do it in the garage. And it's like if you do that, most people are temporarily trying to do it, and then you got to think about moving all the shit out, but you don't know when. Then you're gonna sell it, so like you either gotta like fully commit, or it's kind of like a half-ass effort. And then you got the people that maybe have like a basement or an extra bedroom that they can turn into a gym, but I think most people just don't have a home optimized for a situation, and then most of them are like me, to where they're kind of temporarily fixing it up or tricking it up as a gym, but they're not kind of like all in, so it's kind of like a half-ass gym. You're getting enough with the workout, but it's not like the full workout experience. So I don't know. What do you think about it?
Before I ever joined the gym, because I first joined AmFam, and so I was trying to just put off as much as I could of like, okay, that's like $60 a month, which where I lived in Ashland, aside from like the Y, which was just not really anything, there wasn't any other option, so I was just buying stuff from Craigslist, and I put in like a dowel rod as like a pull-up bar and stuff, but I would say it's kind of a comparison game, because I would say if I lived there still, like I would probably just try to pimp out my garage, but if I lived around where I do now, like there's so many gyms I feel like that have a better atmosphere and better equipment and better like intention behind them, to where like I would say, for example, like if we had like a gym like the shop gym around here, or a good vibe like that, if that day may come, it would be like I would never probably have a garage gym, I would say, because at least where my garage gym was, like no heat, no AC, so in hot or cold, like it kind of sucked. Also, we had like a bunch of crap in there, so like I would always have to move stuff off of like the bench or other things like that. And then also like the setup and takedown. And a friend of mine has a shed gym as well, but he has one of those things where it's like it's a rack, but it folds into the wall, or like it's kind of somewhat more portable, to where like you're always having to take plates, move plates, take this, set it up, put it back, other things like that, to where I find that, sometimes re-racking your weights is hard enough.
What
Like,
I
feel
think
like it
is
would
the
be
difference
annoying.
between, even if you had it fully dicked out, like preference or not, rogue everything, like it's like the best garage gym, I think two things separate it. And I think one is, you touched on it, environment. Like you can't replace the energy. And I like training alone and like it being pretty quiet, but I still do feed off some people around the gym, and it's nice to have a bigger environment and everything. And then the other factor is machines and cables, because like let's say you have a pretty good sized garage or shed or whatever, you can probably fit a simple cable station, but you're not going to have like the full cable crossover station or a lap pull down or cable row, and you're certainly not going to have the machines you want.
Yeah, you can be efficient with the space, but it's not going to be as
And
efficient of a
so,
workout sometimes.
Before we had the garage gym, I was like, man, like if I really decked out a garage gym, like shit, I could probably like roll with this. Like it wouldn't be like my ideal situation, but I was like, you know what? Like I'd probably still have phenomenal workouts. And for the most part, I'd say I'm mostly right. But like throughout this time, as we go another month under quarantine and another month, I realized how much, at least for bodybuilding, I need cables and I need machines. Because I was flexing in the mirror this morning, as usual. And and I was noticing, though, I feel like it's probably in my head, but I feel like my upper chest isn't quite what it used to be, because I feel like I'm not getting as much cable action. I feel like I'm not getting as much,
Deflated.
pec deck or upper. And I just feel like, at least, especially for bodybuilding, you need those cables and machines, and you just can't fit that in a garage gym. But for other people that either do CrossFit or powerlifting or just general fitness, I think it does make sense to invest in a space that is completely yours. It's under your control. The money you're investing, you can just sell back. It's kind of like equity versus just paying a gym, $40, $50, $60 a month, to just rent their equipment basically. But yeah, I definitely miss the gym more and more as the weeks go on, and notice the benefits over a garage gym. With that said, though, whether the future holds what we suppose it to hold, I still would like eventually, when Maddie and I do get a house, to have like a garage or a basement that I can like deck out for like,
Yeah.
either snow days or just days I don't want to go, and I just have like a
'cause
really nice
eventually-
power rack and barbell and
Yeah.
What would be your, like, let's say you had room
My
for 2
setup?
machines?
2 machines. Well, we almost talked about this in the last podcast. Like, what would be my go-to machines?
Well, it wouldn't be favorite. It would be like, what would you say, 2
Oh,
machines
yeah, that's
to
true.
kind of
That's
get
true.
the
It is
most
different.
optimized?
Let me pee and think about it. You guys talk about whatever. You get fill in.
So, talking about home gyms, think that unless you have your own home gym, I don't think home gyms will take off just because I work out in a home gym technically now out in New Kent. Great guy, Michael from FPA, Full Potential Athlete. He allows a lot of people to come over and train. And if you do technically want to go over there, just hit him up on Instagram and leave a donation if you can when you go, obviously, to help him out. It is his house, his place of work. So, but that being said, him being, running a business out of it, I have to work out outside of his work schedule. So most nights I'm not getting out there till 8, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night to like work out once his day's done. And then I'm not getting home until 11 o'clock. And it's like, once I have another opportunity to go somewhere else, not to say that I don't enjoy his gym, but that time is just, it's not sustainable for too much longer. I drive myself crazy some days because I'm like, man, I just finished working out at 11. I get home, I eat, I shower, I sit around because I'm still jacked up off pre-workout, and then I wake up at 5:30 the next day, and I'm
Endless
like, dude,
cycle,
it's like, I'm going to have to take 3 energy drinks and another shot of pre-workout again. Fortunately, and I don't mean to like small plug, the DMHA Red Apple, I think that's like the only thing that's kept me going during
Maddie
these
hit it
late
this morning.
nights.
She was telling me she's
Still
still
tweaking?
feeling it when I was
Yeah.
leaving. Yeah.
It changes my mood, like, and I'm not saying this like it's a study. It's a I've ran it under study.
Sends you to
Like it's
another place.
different. Like I've gone in and I'll be like drained, and I'll be on my ride out there at like 9:30 at night, and I'll take a full scoop, and I'm like, I just feel my brain change.
Yeah,
like,
when you take a full scoop,
I'm just like,
you're in a different
I get
state.
uplifted almost. Not like I'm like going crazy with the weights, but like my mental has changed, and it's that euphoria that you get from DMHA that sort of makes you just feel good. I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm ready to work. But it obviously it doesn't change your output per se. You either suck or you don't, but at least my mindset changes some nights. So that's been holding me up. But what I was saying is like, gyms or home gyms I don't think are going to take off just because I work out in a home gym, and if it's not my own, I have to work out around that person's schedule. So unless people are investing in, everybody has their own single home gym, like I don't think they'll take off per se.
That's what I
Yeah.
think that's the phrase. Like I mean it in a sense of like, I doubt anyone, like you said, is going to their friend's gym every day. I just mean it from a standpoint of like, will people, instead of like going back to the regular gym, will they be like, well, I could actually just do this home gym thing, and they didn't
Gotcha.
actually look into it or consider it before, and now they are.
Everybody knows an older person that's got like a Bowflex in the basement
Yeah,
next
yeah.
to the couch. And
Like,
But to answer your question about like if I could pick 2 machines and not counting like a cable station, because I think you can do so many things with that, but if I had to pick like 2, like I guess to nail down, would be a lat pull down, because with the same one, it's hard to simulate that with cables or anything. And I can still do pull-ups, I guess, on like a bar like we've done it before, and just do the lat pull down though. It gives you a different feel. And with that, I could do tricep push downs basically. Treat it the same way. Then the second one would be a pec deck.
Dude.
Just because again, like you can kind of simulate. Basically, it's the same deal as like a fly movement where you're isolating the pec versus in my power rack, whatever I'm doing, or if I get dumbbells, I can do presses all day, and I can do some dumbbell flies, I guess. But to get that kind of cable fly simulation would be the old pec deck.
Yeah. And getting back, like I don't know what I'd have off the top of my head for machines, but pec deck. Just thinking of like that guy, the pro that does a bunch of flies for his movements. The natural like way your pecs move, like a fly, is kind of like optimal to like really get that contraction instead of pushing. You obviously hit your chest when you're doing presses and whatnot, but if you're doing a fly, like a inward, that I feel like is like the way the striations are, everything, it just is more optimal for like targeting the chest. So I think a fly of some sort, whether it's pec deck, dumbbell, bands, whatever, is definitely good for building the chest up like that pro. Random thought that I just had. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not too big. I like home gyms, but I'm ready for access to a gym 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I'm not having to worry about people and times.
Especially having that
and-
stuff in the storage unit, I'm like, oh, I just
yeah,
want to
dude.
use it.
Yeah.
But we won't
I would like to use it as well.
Nah.
Maybe
All right,
eventually.
we want to jump into these questions?
We've been rambling plenty. Let's go. You flip yours
start us
first.
off.
Yeah.
All right. Poll the internet. Is jerking off to nudes of a girl who has died weird or a nice tribute? Now,
shit.
I'll kick it off just because there's only one that comes to mind. Not anyone I know. but
R.I.P.
But I don't really. I'm not super into it. I don't have any memberships or keep up with it that much. But you start to notice some porn star names that come up a lot that you might see or click on, right? And the only one that comes to mind is maybe y'all are understand or notice this or remember this, but August Ames died like a year ago. She killed herself. So
Maybe you'd have to show me a picture. I don't.
you'd know her.
Oh, you know her.
But you know her. But anyway, she yeah, I'm not gonna get into it. But point
She
is
changed
like
my life.
But point is, let's just say I've watched a video or two of hers, and the point is like after like learning that she killed herself, I'm like in this predicament where I'm like,
Honor her memory.
yeah. Well, then I said the problem is I see a video come up. It's like compilation tribute of her, and it's like
Got the arms of the angels playing in the background, and she's like
It's
getting
like-
spit roasted.
It's like, while these dudes are just, doing exactly what you think they're doing, it's like, is this really a tribute video? And you're like, click, no. But it's like,
and
that's,
what's that like post finish guilt gonna feel like too?
Yeah.
I'm just like,
I'll
what
tell you what
have
it
I
feels
done?
like. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't watch the tribute, but I kind of ignored the fact that she killed herself. But that's the only like one I can think of. So is it weird or nice? It's probably weird if I'm honest. But if you didn't know, you didn't know.
I would say maybe a nice tribute, because if you think about it too, like
she died doing what she loved.
at
Probably
some
not.
point, these people are going to be old women or die or other things like that. And if you watch any sort of throwback video, then it's like,
Nostalgic.
yeah, nostalgic.
Back in their heyday.
Yeah.
Just remembering the good times, the good old
Yeah,
times.
exactly. That plastic is probably floating through the ocean right now.
Damn.
So,
Yeah.
no, I think it's a nice tribute.
Tribute.
But a little weird, yeah.
Oh, 21 gun salute.
Playing bagpipes.
I mean, it is what it like. People think
I
of like.
guess it's the skin flute is an instrument as part of a send off.
Send off.
Pour one out
Yeah.
or blow one out
Yeah.
for memory.
This is for you.
I'm sweating, dude.
Yeah,
Whoever-
start crying.
Yeah, whoever made it to this part of the podcast is getting a treat.
That's a good
Yeah.
question.
Oh God.
Do any of y'all have anyone who comes to mind with this stuff, or is mine the only one that had an
That's the only one
example?
I know of.
I still need to see a picture. I don't know her.
I think of it also similar to, I guess, those who have retired. It's a
Yeah.
nice tribute.
I don't think he was a porn star, but that dude with the hog that just died.
Yeah.
I don't know his name still, but
Who?
the big black guy.
Oh, the one that
Hold
always
on, you might
gets
have
the
to
picture that's sent around.
Yeah.
They don't always look the same in clothes, but
So she was blonde, but then
no,
brown.
no, she's normally brunette. She's Canadian.
Dang. Wow. Yeah. I don't
You
think
know,
I've ever
that
seen.
doesn't come to
I
mind?
don't think I've seen her, but I'm gonna have to do some tribute.
Yeah, you got material for later.
Yeah, when you're wired from the
Yeah.
DMHA post workout.
All right. Yeah. Go ahead and flip yours, Griff.
Yeah, that's good.
If you were reading the story of your life and you got to the present day, would you keep reading knowing you can't change anything you read?
Hold on. Reread.
If you were reading the story of your life and you got to the present day, would you keep reading knowing that you can't change anything you read?
I wouldn't keep reading. Close the book.
So getting to present day, and you'd read into the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And
But
if
you
you
can't
if you
change
move
it.
past that point, you can't change what you've just read.
Well, it would already
can't change
be
it anyway.
it would already be the timeline of your life. So it's not like it would affect the future
just,
in
do
any
you
way.
wanna
It's
know
just
what
do you
you
want to
can't
know?
Oh, so do you want to know what the future holds?
Yes.
Type deal. No.
Yeah, I don't either.
I probably would keep reading. I kind of feel like it would be one of those things where
Griffin's
like
like, shit, today's the day.
well, I kind of feel like, you know, you would know what's going to happen, so then you don't have to stress about, like, what will happen. It would kind of be like, oh, I will make it here, or I won't make it here. So, like, if you just find out that you don't make it, then it's like,
I
oh,
get
well.
hit by that bus in 11 days.
I kind of feel like it would just make it kind of a peace of mind sort of thing to where, you know, like, I know what's going to happen, so I'll just focus on the things that I can kind of change day to day or something like that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I understand. And I see it. It'd be tough. I don't know.
I feel like it would be different. Like, I wouldn't want to know, like, I wouldn't want to know how I would die if I didn't know when I would die, if that makes sense. Or, like, I wouldn't want to know that, oh, you'll die, like, 15 days from now versus, like, this many years from now.
Yeah.
But I feel like if it was a book like this where it would be, like, a timeline, it would make a lot more sense of, like, oh, well, like, I'll get married at 35, so, like, I don't even have to worry about, like, dating around, or, like, oh, well, I will, like, become
Well, but see, you're
self-sufficient.
thinking about it,
so,
though,
like,
to where you can kind of like, oh, I'm not going to worry about it. But maybe in the future, though, you were worrying about it. You were trying different things because, remember, you can't change it. So it might give you peace of mind, but you're kind of like locked in this body that's doing these things that you kind of can't do it, essentially.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm not supposed to rob this bank,
Oh,
but it's going to.
Yeah,
You know, I
that's
can't
basically
change it,
kind
you
of.
know?
oh, yeah, that would be interesting.
You're looking at it a different
Well,
way.
I kind of think about, too, like, oh, well, he winds up staying in Virginia all of his life. So then I feel like
So it takes the stress off.
yeah,
your mind
I
of
would be like, oh, well, I don't
this is
have
where
to
I need
ever
be.
think about, I'm meant to be here, so, like, maximize the things that I'm doing
Yeah,
here.
it has
Does
pros
that make
and cons.
sense?
Definitely pro-con.
I don't want to know anything bad, at least.
Yeah.
I want it
don't
to,
wanna know.
if it's going to happen, at least surprise me, so I
Yeah.
can, like, not just be tense all the time or just, like, anxious.
I kind of find that, like, you know, it's not telling you what's going to happen without telling you the time frame as well. So it's not just like Austin got in a car accident. It would tell you, like, you know, the whole map out of everything.
This isn't the car, but the only way I'd want to know the future is if I could change it, obviously, because then you would want to be like, all right, well, I'm going to not do that, obviously, but that's not the way this card's dealt. But no, I would not. Deep down, no. Okay. Last card. Poll the internet. When you know you're not supposed to be looking at someone's boobs, does it make it harder not to look at? Yes.
Absolutely.
Like, especially one-on-one conversation, and you're just like...
Yeah, you kind of, like,
You
lock
stare
eye
so
contact,
hard,
lock
but
eye
yeah,
contact,
it's-
and then
yeah.
quick glance.
Yeah, you're doing the quick, like, peripheral. You're like, oh, like, you know, that...
It's so hard. Like, you'll stare at somebody, even just like they have something on their face, and you just like try not to look at it, and you're just like,
Yeah.
like I just start twitching. Like your eyes get so locked, they start just dancing around. I'm just like, I gotta go. I gotta go. Yes, it is 10 times as hard.
Yeah, I would agree. And especially, too, it's like one of those things where I feel like as soon as you break eye contact, it's like, and then back in again.
It's like you're underwater during that time. You get a big-
But then I also find sometimes when you are, like, keeping eye contact, it's almost like I talk to you and then, like,
You're
a quick little...
making eye contact, but you're focused so much on the eye contact, you don't know what they're saying,
No.
really.
Yeah.
It's gone, and then you briefly, like, you know, get a gasp of air, basically, checking them out and back up. And you're like, did they see that? Like, you know, did they notice?
It is funny.
Yeah, it is. And sometimes, I mean, if they're there, they're there. I mean, I don't know. I've gotten to the point where it's just like, I'll look wherever.
it's almost like...
But I try not to at first, but then it's like, whatever.
if you're
They're
wearing...
If
like
if
brightly
that there
colored
too, you can't
leggings
be.
and sports bra and doing a suggestive exercise and this and that, like, you can't be complaining about being stared at.
Well, here's the thing, too. It's like, I feel like, maybe this will make me a sexist. I don't know. Hope not.
At this
But-
point, let it
yeah.
just glide off of you
But
like
the thing
rain
is, like,
X.
but like example, I'll put it in my perspective, even in a male perspective. Like, if I dress really nice at the gym and I'm hoping like some good looking girls come up to me, but if I get like, some grandma or like someone who's less attractive, I can't be upset because I'm looking good. Let's say I'm looking good in general. I don't get to be picky and choosy who gets to look at me.
Yeah.
So like if you're a girl and you dress really nice, there's gonna be a lot of creeps that look at you, maybe sneak a picture like weirdos, but you got to know that, okay, if you're looking really good, you're going to get attraction and interest from all people,
Yes.
not just the ones you'd like
Pick
to
and
get.
choose.
Yeah, you can't be picky and choose if you're going to look good.
Yeah.
On that note, even though it's not related to the question, would you ever go to a nude beach?
I think we
We
talked
talked
about it.
about
wait,
this
I
like
think
2
we
3
did.
weeks ago.
But
yeah.
yes, I'm going to confirm yes.
Oh.
I don't know if I'd do it on the regular, but to try it, yes.
Yeah, I'd probably
Would you do
once
it
or twice.
around people you knew? Like if there's a Richmond nude beach, would you go to it? Or would it have to be
As
like
long as no
Scandinavia.
no family.
He'd make sure it's a, he'd
No
make sure it's a
family,
white beach,
yes.
so he's not outgunned.
Yes.
I'm telling you, the water's just cold.
a little chilly out today.
I took DMHA.
No, but I'll just say no. I'm not going to hop in the water today, guys. But I think I
Stop
guess
looking.
definitely would. No phones, no Instagram.
Yeah.
No, I'm just messing. But as long as I guess no families there, then yeah, I'd probably do it.
Yeah, that would be a weird for a family kind of thing.
It's like, oh, hey,
I think when I was younger, we went to a beach in Florida or North Carolina, and there was maybe a family that was there from Europe, and it was interesting because the mom was like topless on the beach. But I feel like that would be kind of weird around your kids. Maybe it's a different cultural
Mom,
thing.
I don't want to see your tits.
Yeah, there's a certain age I feel like that it's like, all right, that's a little bit weird.
Yeah, past breastfeeding age. I guess past 3 or 4. Yeah, you probably shouldn't like whoop them out in front of your son. You know,
No.
it's definitely like weird past then. But
And so, random off topic. I just watched this show. Pretty good. If y'all are looking for a little Netflix show to watch, it's called History 101. And it goes through like the history of fast food, history of NASA or space exploration, history of plastic and how it was developed, and one of them, history of feminism. And I watched them all, hit the feminism one, and it started off, I was interested the whole time. I was like trying to learn, and
Who was the narrator?
I don't remember. It's nobody good.
but
But
was being progressive.
but they showed like all these chicks and groups of chicks, like, running around the public, with stuff written on their chest, and they were topless, to promote feminism, whatever. And I'm like, when you do that, like, what do you expect? People are going to yell out, "Nice tits," and like, what do you expect? Like,
Objectifying
don't
yourself,
objectify
too.
me,
Stop
but
looking at
then
them.
put your tits away. Then, like, what's the deal? Like, don't hold them out. I feel like I'd be one of those people. You see tits running on the, or like people that are like, oh, tits should be or boobs. I keep saying tits. That sounds like that sounds derogative. But boobs running out or having your boob out or whatever, and they should be natural, and you should be able to breastfeed and whatever. And you should be able to breastfeed wherever you want, but don't do it out in public unless you want people
yeah, well,
to
see,
listen.
that's the thing. Like, I'm not.
Oh.
Oh, he's got something good. But
No.
all I was
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
say
go
was,
ahead.
we're not of the opinion. I don't think to say like don't do it. All we're saying is if you do,
Yeah, exactly.
expect people to look.
Yes.
So I filmed this promotional thing for a like a baby swaddling company, and there was this like 28-year-old or so girl that had just had a baby, and that's what I was filming for the product. But then after we finished filming, and I don't want to be too vulgar, but like great, 10 out of
Nice.
10.
Yeah.
But after we finished filming,
That's a
she was
compliment.
like talking to me, asking me about my camera, and then just like whips one out and starts feeding the baby. And it was one of those same instances where I'm like, okay, I got to keep eye contact, keep eye contact.
Is there a
but-
dad?
Yeah. But then it was one of those things too where it's like, okay, this is good, like that you're feeling comfortable to like do this in this situation, but then it's also like, let
Yeah.
me look.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like one of
You've
those
had
things
enough,
like,
baby. Get out of here. It's my turn.
the Indiana Jones like Ark of the Covenant sort of thing. Like
Yeah.
you're not allowed to look upon it.
Yeah. Start
It's like-
melting.
turn to this melted skull.
Yeah.
Skin melts off like cheese.
But yeah, I do agree. I feel like if you're doing it in public, more power to you. But I should be allowed to look with no repercussion.
It kind of is like,
Because
you know,
best
like-
believe if we had our dick out,
Yeah.
you'd be looking too.
oh yeah. Did you say breast believe?
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
Freudian slip.
The little pun. Nice, but
On that topic
Anyways.
too, not to keep going. How do you feel about the the old man in the locker room. Will you ever become the old man in the locker room? I don't see myself ever
No.
doing that.
I'm
I
not
don't care.
the one doing that. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't care to
No
like.
blow dryer for me.
Nah, it's like I don't know what happened with that generation to where they're just like either like
Yeah, there used to be a dude in
know. What's going on
VCC. After
upstairs?
every time he'd come in at 7 a.m. after we open, he'd get in the hot tub immediately, and then he'd get out after like 20 minutes. He'd prop up one leg on the bench, take the blow dryer, and just blow dry his nuts.
like why can't you just let them air dry?
I don't know.
Take
know.
special care.
Yeah.
Well, I
Precious
guess
cargo.
when you're older like that, and you just got a bunch of time on your hands. It's like, well, I'm just take care of them. I'm gonna make sure they're taken care of. Extra care. But anyways, yeah, those are the questions for the day,
And I think that was a good little deep dive today for breaking it back into the All or Nothing show. With that being said, make sure you follow us all on social media, and especially me as I drop the questions box on Sunday so you can get in for next week on what you'd like us to dive into and talk about. Any topics at all. Nothing's off the table. It is the All or Nothing show. And stay tuned for more updates of Gymflo and whatever else we're diving into. And like and subscribe, share to your friends, and we'll see you next week. We're out of here.